In this video, I'd like to talk to you about 7 reminders to take care of your mind. Coming right up. What is up, everyone? My name is KG. Welcome back to my channel. So the first thing that I'd like to remind you of in order to protect your peace or to protect your mind is anything that comes at the expense of your peace is too expensive. So you need to let it go. I think this is self-explanatory. Whether it's a job, whether it's a relationship, if it takes away from your peace and your joy and your happiness, then leave it alone. Number 2, you don't lose real friends or real relationships when you start setting clear boundaries. You lose fake friends, you lose people that are narcissistic, people that are manipulative, because if they move away from you whenever you start setting clear boundaries, it means they were using you all along. It means they were taking advantage of your kindness. So don't worry about who leaves you whenever you start setting clear boundaries, when you start looking out for number 1. You've probably been considering other people's well-being and feelings for so long at the expense of your own happiness. But don't worry about who you lose whenever you start, raising your standards in terms of what you can tolerate and what you can't tolerate. Number 3, people pleasing will steal your peace and happiness. There's a lot of people out there who are not living for themselves. They're living to please their parents, they're living to please their friends, they're living to please their colleagues. But that is going to come at the cost of your happiness. It's going to come at the cost of your potential even, because when you're living for people, you are not really pursuing the journey that you were created to pursue. All you're doing is trying your best to please everyone, and there's no way that you can please everyone. Focus on what you are here to do. Focus on pleasing yourself. Everything else will take care of itself, because the people that you're trying to live for, the people that you're trying to please, probably don't care about you, so it's not worth you forfeiting your happiness. It's not worth you forfeiting what you could become, because you're focused on pleasing people and not yourself. Number 4, if taking care of yourself means letting some people down, then so be it. Sometimes we sacrifice our own well-being because we are too attached to people's opinions about us. We don't want to disappoint people. We don't want to let people down. But if whatever that you are doing, if that decision is for your own good, if that decision is going to bring peace to your life, if that decision is about taking care of yourself, then don't feel guilty about it. Don't care who you are letting down. People take up so much upon themselves that they end up getting depressed, they end up getting stressed, because you are trying to be everything to everyone. You're trying to be the perfect human being who is not selfish. But sometimes you just need to be selfish because you want to protect your peace, because you want to protect your own well-being. Number 5, the version of yourself that people have created in their own minds is not your responsibility. It doesn't matter what people think of you. What is important is what you think of yourself, and being true to yourself as well. Don't try to argue with people who claim to know you but don't really know you. If they've formulated a perception about yourself based on an incident, then that's not your responsibility. Don't try to protect your image to people who judge you without really knowing you. It's all about knowing yourself. It's all about having integrity. It's all about knowing what you stand for, instead of trying to prove to people who or what you are. Number 6, any tenant that is renting space in your mind can be evicted anytime without warning. There's things that we adopt, there's things that we allow in our heads based on past experiences, based on what we see on TV, based on the narrative that society tells us we should be, and we take those things in without realizing that we are chaining ourselves, not realizing that we are binding ourselves unnecessarily. So if something doesn't align with what you're trying to do, if something doesn't align with what you're trying to become, if something is a hindrance to the version of yourself that you aspire to be, then you can evict it as in now. You don't need to limit yourself based on what other people said about you. You don't need to limit yourself based on what your teacher said about you, what your manager said about you. Every thought that is not serving you can be evicted with immediate effect. No notice needed until you make the decision as soon as you make the decision that you are not going to allow certain things to rule you anymore, to take over your life in your mind, then you can snap out of it immediately. And lastly, no personal achievement, no material gain, no bank balance is worth it if it comes at the expense of your peace. There's a lot of people who are not patient, who are doing things they're not supposed to be doing because they want to be rich quick. And they end up not sleeping at night because of the things that they had to do to gain that money, because of the things they had to do to achieve those material things. Everything comes at its own time. When God blesses you, it comes with peace of mind as well. What's the point of you having everything you want, but you don't have peace? You can't sleep well at night because you are stressed about your next move. You are stressed about who you need to hurt in order to get what you need to get. For instance, people who hijack cars, they might say they don't have a conscience because they're driven by their goals and whatever situation or circumstance that they're in. But the bottom line is we're all human, and the conscience will always convict us. Our conscience will always say, but why did you do that? That guilt will always be there. So if something is costing you your peace in order for you to gain it, then it's not worth it, because you need sleep, you need peace of mind, you need not to worry about certain things. And that brings us to the end of the video, guys. Thanks again for watching. Please like, share, and comment, and subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't done so already. Until next time, goodbye.